Big alert. A stranger was caught outside your home. They are planning to k*ll your. My beloved child, pause for a moment and listen carefully. Tonight, something unusual happened just outside your home. A stranger was seen standing there, quiet, patient, almost invisible in the shadows. Not knocking. Not calling out. Just watching. And the strange part is this: they were not looking at your house the way a visitor does. They were studying it. The windows. The door. The small details most people would never notice. For a brief moment, it felt unsettling. As if someone was planning something meant to disturb the peace of someone you deeply care about. But here is the truth you must understand before you let your mind wander too far. Not every mysterious presence comes with darkness. Sometimes it arrives as a warning. Sometimes it appears to reveal something you were never meant to ignore. So don't skip this moment. Stay with me until the end. Because the stranger outside your home is only the beginning of a much bigger story. Something huge is waiting for you to understand tonight. And what was discovered next changed everything. My beloved child, listen closely, because this moment was never ordinary. Earlier tonight, a quiet figure was seen standing just outside your home. Not knocking. Not speaking. Simply waiting in silence. At first, it seemed strange, almost like a scene that didn't belong to this peaceful night. But what made it truly unusual was the way the stranger looked toward your door, not with anger, not with impatience, but with deep focus. As if they were deciding whether to step forward, or walk away forever. For a brief second, someone nearby noticed the figure pause, then slowly step back into the shadows again. Why would someone come so close to your home, only to hesitate? That question is the reason this story began. Because moments later, something unexpected was discovered that changed the meaning of everything. Don't skip this part. Stay with me. Something huge is waiting for you to understand, and the stranger outside your home may be connected to something far more important than anyone first imagined. What was found next made the silence outside your door feel very different. But the next discovery changed the entire feeling of that quiet night. Not long after the stranger stepped back into the shadows, a small detail caught someone's attention near your front gate. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. Just something simple, something easily missed. A small folded note had been placed where the light from your porch could barely touch it. No name. No explanation. Only a few carefully written words. For a moment, no one knew what it meant. The air felt still, as if the night itself was waiting for the message to be understood. And this is why you must stay with this story. Because the note did not carry anger, it carried urgency. Almost like someone was trying to prevent something, not cause it. Don't skip this moment. Something huge is waiting for you in what that message revealed next, and the truth about the stranger outside your home is far more surprising than anyone expected. And then, when the note was finally opened, the quiet mystery deepened even more. The message inside was short. Careful. Almost as if every word had been chosen with purpose. It read, "Please be alert tonight. Someone close to this home deserves protection. No threats. No frightening language. Just a calm but urgent reminder. For a moment, the room fell silent. Who would leave such a message and disappear into the night? And how could a complete stranger care enough to warn you? That single note transformed the entire meaning of what had happened outside your door. Because the figure in the shadows no longer seemed like someone with harmful intentions. It began to feel like someone who had come to protect something important. Don't skip ahead. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you in this story, and what was discovered about the stranger just a little later revealed a truth no one was expecting. Then, just when everyone thought the mystery would fade, another small detail appeared. A neighbor quietly mentioned that they had seen the stranger earlier in the evening, not near your door, but walking slowly along the street, looking at the houses as if searching for the right one. Not rushing. Not hiding. Just careful and thoughtful. At first, it sounded ordinary. But when the neighbor described the moment more clearly, something unexpected stood out. The stranger had stopped directly in front of your home, looked toward the windows for a few seconds, and then gently placed something near the gate before stepping away. No noise. No disturbance. Almost like someone trying to leave a message without frightening anyone inside. And suddenly, a powerful question filled the air. Why would someone go to such effort just to leave a quiet warning? Don't skip this part. Stay till the end. Because what was noticed next about the stranger's actions revealed that this night was not random at all, and the reason behind that mysterious message was far more meaningful than anyone imagined. But just when the night seemed ready to return to normal, something even more surprising came to light. A small camera near the corner of the street had quietly recorded the moment the stranger approached your home. When the footage was viewed, everyone leaned closer, expecting to see something suspicious. Instead, the scene felt calm. The stranger walked slowly toward the gate, paused for a moment, and looked around carefully, not in panic, but in thought. Then something unexpected happened. They took out the folded note, placed it gently where it could be found, and stood there for a few seconds longer, almost as if hoping someone inside would notice. There was no rush. No hidden movement. Just a quiet presence, and then the stranger stepped away, disappearing down the street. And that is when the real question began to grow. Why would someone risk being seen just to leave a warning for your home? Don't skip this moment. Stay till the end. Because what was discovered about the stranger's identity a little later revealed a connection no one had ever imagined. Something huge is waiting for you to understand. And just when everyone thought the mystery would remain unsolved, a quiet realization began to form. Someone looked at the footage again, this time more carefully. The stranger's movements were calm. Respectful. Almost protective. They never tried to approach the door directly. They never attempted to look inside. Instead, they kept a gentle distance, like someone who didn't want to disturb the peace of the home. And then one tiny detail changed everything. Right before leaving, the stranger turned once more toward your house. Not with worry. Not with fear. But with the expression of someone making sure something valuable was safe. That moment raised a powerful question in everyone's mind. What if the stranger wasn't planning harm at all? What if they had been watching over something, or someone, important to them? Don't skip this moment. Because the next discovery revealed something no one expected. The stranger may have known something about your home that you had never noticed before. And once that truth began to unfold, the entire story took on a completely different meaning. Just when the mystery seemed impossible to understand, another clue quietly surfaced. A neighbor remembered something small, something that at first didn't feel important. Earlier that evening, the same stranger had briefly spoken to someone at the end of the street. Not loudly. Not urgently. Just a short, calm conversation before walking away. When the neighbor tried to recall what was said, one sentence stood out. The stranger had asked a simple question. Does the family in that house know how important they are? At the time, it sounded confusing. Almost poetic. But after the note was discovered, those words felt completely different. Why would someone ask about your home in such a thoughtful way? Why would a stranger care about the people inside? Don't skip this part. Stay till the end. Because the next piece of this story revealed something deeply unexpected, a connection between the stranger and your home that had existed long before tonight. And once that truth came closer to the surface, the quiet visitor outside your gate no longer felt like a mystery. It felt like the beginning of something meaningful that had been waiting to be discovered. And then, a memory surfaced that no one had connected before. Someone in the neighborhood suddenly recalled seeing that same stranger once before, not tonight, but many months ago. It had been a brief moment. The stranger had walked past the street during the day, paused near your home for just a second, and then continued walking as if they were simply passing through. At the time, it felt ordinary. But now, after the note, after the quiet visit outside your gate, that moment felt very different. Why would the same person return to this exact place again? It began to feel less like coincidence, and more like purpose. Almost as if your home had been on their mind for a long time. Stay with this story. Don't skip ahead. Because the next discovery revealed something truly surprising. There was a reason the stranger cared about what happens near your home, a reason that connects to a story much older than tonight. And once that truth begins to unfold, you will realize this mysterious visit was never random at all. But what was uncovered next made everyone pause in complete silence. Someone decided to look through old neighborhood records and community notes, hoping to understand if the stranger had ever been connected to this street before. And that's when a quiet detail appeared. Years ago, long before many of the current neighbors had even moved here, a person once lived nearby who was known for something very simple but powerful. They always looked out for the people around them. If someone needed help, they noticed. If something felt unusual, they paid attention. The description of that person sounded surprisingly similar to the stranger seen outside your home. Calm. Observant. Protective. It raised a possibility no one had considered before. What if the stranger wasn't new to this place at all? What if they were someone who had once known this street, someone who still cared enough to return when something felt important? Don't skip this moment. Stay till the end. Because the next piece of the story reveals something even more meaningful, a reason the stranger chose your home, and not any other house on this street. Something huge is waiting to be understood. And then a final detail quietly brought the entire story together. Someone carefully read the note again, slowly this time. At the bottom, almost hidden in the corner, there was one more line that no one had noticed before. It simply said, "Kindness always returns to the place where it began." For a moment, the meaning felt mysterious. But then a realization began to grow. Your home had always been known for something special: warmth, generosity, and the small everyday kindness that many people remember long after they leave. Over the years, people who passed through this street had carried those memories with them. And perhaps the stranger outside your gate was one of them. Someone who once experienced that kindness, and returned when they felt something important needed attention. Not to bring fear, but to remind you that the goodness within your home still matters more than you realize. So tonight's quiet visitor was never just a stranger. It was a reminder that the kindness you share travels farther than you can see, and sometimes, it returns in the most unexpected moments to watch over what matters most. And if you've stayed with this story until now, remember this. Something huge was waiting for you to understand tonight. Even in the quietest moments, the care you show the world has a way of coming back to your door. But just when the story felt complete, one last moment quietly changed everything again. Later that night, long after the street had grown still, someone passing by noticed something resting near the same gate where the note had been found. It hadn't been there before. A small object, simple, almost ordinary. When it was picked up and examined under the porch light, its meaning slowly became clear. It was a tiny keychain with a single word engraved on it. Remember. No explanation. No name attached. Just that one word. And suddenly the entire night felt less like a mystery, and more like a message meant only for you. Remember who you are. Remember the goodness that lives inside your home. Remember that even when life feels quiet and unnoticed, the impact you have on others travels far beyond your front door. So don't rush away from this moment. Because the stranger outside your home may have left more than a warning. They may have left a reminder that the smallest acts of kindness can echo through time, returning when you least expect it. And if you truly understand that message, you'll realize this night was never about fear at all. It was about realizing that something meaningful has always been living right where you are. And just when the night seemed ready to close its quiet chapter, one final realization rose like a whisper in the stillness. Think about it carefully. The stranger never knocked. Never tried to enter. Never tried to be seen. They simply arrived, left a message, and disappeared again into the calm of the night. Almost as if their purpose had already been fulfilled. The note. The quiet visit. The small reminder left behind. Piece by piece, the meaning became clearer. This was never about someone trying to bring harm. It was about awareness. About protection. About remembering the unseen connections that surround your life. Because sometimes the world sends small signals to remind you that your presence matters more than you realize. Stay with this thought for a moment. Don't rush past it. Something huge has been waiting for you inside this entire story. Not outside your home, but inside the way you choose to live each day. And when the sun rises tomorrow, the street will look exactly the same. But the meaning of tonight, and the quiet message left at your gate, will stay with you far longer than the mystery itself. And yet, even after everything that happened, the most powerful part of the story was still waiting to be understood. Morning slowly arrived. The street looked peaceful again. Neighbors walked by as they always did. Nothing appeared unusual. But something inside felt different. Because once you know that someone cared enough to leave a quiet message, you begin to see your world with new eyes. You start noticing the small things. The light that shines through your window. The calm feeling of standing at your doorway. The simple comfort of knowing that your home carries meaning for more people than you ever realized. And that is when the final truth begins to unfold. The stranger outside your home may have come and gone in silence, but the message they left behind was never meant to disappear. It was meant to stay with you. Don't skip this last moment. Stay with me. Because the final piece of this story reveals why this night happened at all, and why the quiet reminder left outside your gate was meant specifically for you. But before this story reaches its quiet ending, there is one final truth you deserve to hear. Every mysterious moment of that night, the silent visitor, the note, the small reminder, carried a meaning deeper than it first appeared. It was not about the stranger. It was about you. About the life you are living inside that home, the kindness, the patience, the unseen good that often goes unnoticed by the world. Yet somehow, someone noticed. Someone remembered. And that is why the stranger came without disturbing the night, leaving only small clues behind, clues that gently pointed to something powerful. Your presence matters. Your actions ripple farther than you can imagine. Even when days feel ordinary, the way you treat people, the warmth you share, the quiet strength you carry, it all travels beyond your walls. Stay with this final moment. Because the last piece of this story reveals why the stranger chose silence instead of speaking, and why their message was meant to stay with you long after that quiet night ended. And now, the final piece of this quiet story reveals itself. Think back to the moment the stranger stood outside your home. They could have knocked. They could have spoken. They could have explained everything. But they chose silence. Because some messages are stronger when they are discovered, not delivered. The note. The gentle warning. The small reminder that said, "Remember." All of it was meant to awaken something inside you, not fear, but awareness. Awareness that your life carries meaning far beyond what you see each day. Sometimes we move through our routines believing our actions are small, unnoticed, ordinary. Yet somewhere along the way, someone experienced the kindness that came from your home. Someone remembered the warmth that lives there. And on this quiet night, they returned not to disturb your peace, but to protect it and remind you of its value. So if you have stayed with this story until this final moment, hold on to this truth. Something huge was waiting for you to understand. Your kindness travels farther than you think. Your presence leaves marks on people's lives in ways you may never fully see. And sometimes, the world sends a quiet visitor to your door just to remind you that what you are building inside your home truly matters. And even after the story seems finished, there is one last feeling that lingers in the quiet air. Imagine that moment again, the stranger standing outside your home, looking toward the place where your life unfolds every day. They didn't see walls and windows the way most people do. They saw a place filled with memories. A place where small acts of kindness have quietly shaped the lives of others. And that is why they came only to leave a reminder, not to change your life, but to help you notice the meaning that was already there. Because the truth is simple, yet powerful. Every home carries an unseen story. The laughter shared inside. The patience shown during difficult days. The quiet moments when someone chooses compassion instead of indifference. Those things travel farther than we ever realize. And sometimes, without warning, life brings a moment like this one, a mysterious night, a quiet visitor, a message left behind, just to show you that the goodness you give to the world has not gone unnoticed. So tonight, as everything returns to calm, remember what this moment revealed. Something huge was waiting for you, not outside your door, but inside the life you are building. And now that you see it, the quiet message from that stranger becomes clear. The light within your home is stronger than you ever believed, and it will continue touching lives in ways you may never fully see. And long after that quiet night faded into memory, one gentle thought continued to echo. The stranger may never return. The street may look the same as it always has. Yet something inside you has shifted. Because once you realize that your presence in this world carries meaning, ordinary moments begin to feel extraordinary. The door you open each morning. The words you choose when speaking to others. The patience you show during difficult days. All of it matters more than you think. That silent visitor outside your home did not arrive by accident. They came as a reminder that the story of your life is already touching people in ways you cannot always see. And perhaps that is the most powerful truth hidden within this entire night. You don't need a grand moment to change the world around you. Sometimes the greatest impact begins quietly, inside a single home, through simple kindness shared day after day. So if you have stayed with this story until this final breath of the night, hold this thought close. Something huge was waiting for you here. Not a mystery. Not a stranger. But the realization that the goodness living within your heart has always been strong enough to reach far beyond your door, and it will continue doing so long after this story ends.